Hello everyone! Today I'm going to try to compare a keyboard versus a controller. I'll mainly do this on a PlayStation controller, but I'll try to translate it into a Xbox controller. What I will be talking about in this guide is going to be keybinds and how you can adjust these, the advantage of playing with a controller or a keyboard, some useful tips and tricks, and what I prefer. And I've also made a timeline so you can easily skip to the part that you're looking for. First, I'll talk about some keybinds on a PC and also a secret keybind that you might not know of. To adjust your keybinds, open up the option menu and go to controls. In the second section, you can see all the different skills, and you can also see the skill speed bar. If I want to toggle or show the skill speed bar, I press S. So when I do this, the bar will appear. Now I can adjust the keybinds. So for example, double swing can be F1, bash F2, normal attack F3, and town portal F4. So you just hover over the ability you want to keybind, and then you can press anywhere between F1 to F8. Once you have changed the keybinds, you can easily swap between the skills. This becomes handy when you need to change skills fast or make a town portal to get away. There's also another way to change this. So if you don't want the skills to be anywhere from F1 to F8, you can press like this and then adjust the keybind. So I can change it from like F1 to Q, F2 to F, F3 to R. But just remember that when you adjust it like this, you might remove another keybind. If you regret the changes, you can always go back to control and go to default. Down here, you can change between Resurrected and Legacy. If you choose to go with Legacy, it will set it to what it was by default, so what you probably had before. If you choose to go with Resurrected, your keybinds will be a bit different. Your skills will be anywhere from 1 to 8, and your potions will be Q, W, E, and R. If you wish to adjust the build, then you can also do that in controls and under command section. For example, you can adjust build 1, so the first potion to be scroll up, and you can adjust the second potion to be scroll down. But before you change keybinds, then always make sure to check what that keybind is assigned to. And the keybind trick that you might not know of is that you can easily heal your mercenary, hold down shift, and press 1, 2, 3, or 4 depending on where you have your healing potion.
Thank you.
You can also do this on controllers. Hold down L2 and then change between left, up, down, or right.
Thank you. Thank you.
The keybind on an Xbox controller is LT and then left, up, down, right. Alright, so I guess now we have to talk about controllers and how you can adjust the keybinds. To go to your keybinds or controls, open up the option menu. In the menu, you can swap between different windows. You press L1 or R1. On an Xbox controller, it's LB or RB. In your skill tree, you will be able to find all your skills. I've, for example, assigned bash to when I press circle. But you can rebind the skill. Hover over the skill and then press square. If you do this on Xbox, you will most likely have to press X. You can, for example, also rebind the key to town portal. In my case, it's L2 and X. But if I rebind this to circle, then it will also be a lot easier for me to cast the portal a lot faster. Here's an example of how it works. So I use my skills and I cast a town portal within a few seconds. But town portal is not the only thing we can adjust. You can also do stuff like automap and run and walk. But what you can also do with the controller is to sort your items so fast. Hold down R3 and then it will sort your bags. But that's not the only thing you can do with the R3 button. Go to your build, move over a potion, press R3, and now your build will be filled with potions. One thing I noticed when I tried controller versus computer is that when I try to change graphics, to the original one, then the action bar at the bottom will remain the new one from Resurrected. But when you do this on computer, it will go back to how it was originally. One problem I had when I used controller on my PC is that I cannot really interact with other people. For example, if I had no keyboard, I don't know how I could type stuff. You could hold down R3 and then you can open the chat box, but still it's a bit difficult to chat this way. You could of course do the selling part down here and then link the item that you're selling, but I don't really know if this is going to be a good way. Let me know your experience with trading on a controller on an Xbox or PlayStation device, and if you have encountered a problem. Next up, I'm going to try to compare the keyboard and the controller and see if there's any advantage. Then I will also share some tips and tricks, and in the end figure out the pros and cons and what I prefer. One thing I noticed with the controller is how it highlights the target. It's so easy for me to see targets and the health bar. And when I play on a PC, I have to hover over the target to see the health bar. Talking about the mouse, then it's a lot easier for me to choose what item I want to loot. So for example, if a gem or a rune drop, it's so easy for me to just press that and then my character will run to that item. But let's say a boss dropped 5 items. 2 of them are unique and you try to loot them. Whenever someone tries to loot an item and it's looted, they might change position. But if you do this on a controller, you can just spam the key and the character will try to loot everything nearby. So in my opinion, there's a higher chance with a controller that you get to loot the items. But in order to make this work, you also need to stack on top of the boss. At the same time, I feel like it's a bit difficult to target a specific item if there's a lot of items nearby. Another issue was how I interacted with objects. So if 2 objects was close to each other, it could be difficult to target the right one. In this clip, I was for example meant to leave the tomb, but instead I took the town portal. That being said, then there's also some insane things about the controller. You can assign 4 of your favorite skills, and all of these you can just access within a few inches of each other. You just move around your finger from triangle, square, circle or cross. And what I even noticed is that it will automatically target the nearby enemy, so I don't even have to drag the mouse around and target the right target. All I have to do is to spam my favorite ability, and eventually the target will be killed. And while my character will instantly aim and focus on targets, I can loot at the same time. In my opinion, this is one of the insane things about the controller, especially if you like to do PvP. So if you play on a PC and you would like to have aim assist, then you just plug in a controller. Another thing you can do with the controller is to go behind objects. The moment you leave the object, you will automatically target, attack, and then you can go behind again. By doing it like this, you will also avoid a lot of damage. What I also noticed with a controller is that all the dark areas that originally you can't see with a mouse, you can now see with the controller. You can also see the nameplates, and you will even target the targets in the dark area. So what do I prefer? I feel like that's a difficult decision. I like both of them, because the controller has some advantage and some disadvantage, and so does the keyboard. So I will probably just combine these two and use them at the same time. If I'm leveling by myself, I would most likely just use the controller. But if I play in a multiplayer game where I need to be able to target runes and other items a lot faster, then I might use the mouse. If I'm going to PvP, I would definitely use the controller. But I'm unsure how this will work if I'm going to teleport around with Enigma. Nonetheless, then having aim assist in PvP is going to be a big thing compared to playing against a PC player who don't use a controller. One thing that is good about the mouse is that you can predict where the target is going to move. So by predicting and shooting in front of the target, you might eventually also hit the target. So as you probably can hear, there's a lot of things that is positive and negative about a controller, but it's also the same case with the mouse and the keyboard. If you wish to see more Diablo 2 content, then make sure to check out my channel, Guide MM. As always, Thank you for watching, and have an amazing day. Peace.